Hey everybody, welcome to Love Annette. This is a squash chopped hamburger pie we're making today. Here's the starting lineup. That's a kabocha squash, homegrown onions and garlic, mushrooms and an egg, rosemary, salt and pepper of course, parmesan and mozzarella cheese. Now, if you would, please don't get too hung up on those mushrooms because I actually forgot them. And of course, ground meat. For this recipe, I am using ground beef. You have to wash your squash. And then, of course, you need to cut it up and remove the seeds, please. For this recipe, I am steaming this squash. So after I got it cut up and de-seeded, I cut it into smaller chunks so that it would cook faster in the steaming basket. I put it in the steaming basket on the stove and just until cooked, which was about 15 minutes. For this recipe, I'm using store-bought pie crust. Sometimes that happens, guys, and it's okay. Of course, you want to chop your onion. For this, I'm not too worried about the size or shape of my onion. If you like it uniform, feel free to do that. These are smaller onions, but hey, you know what? I grew them and I put time and energy into these guys, so I'm going to use them. And I'm chopping up my garlic. Yeah, you want it chopped pretty small or to taste. Of course, you gotta fry the hamburger. You notice this hamburger was quite greasy, so I end up draining it and letting it hang out on some paper towel for a while for some of that extra grease to come off. I threw it back in the pan, and I added the onions and the garlic to it. At this point, folks, I should have actually added those mushrooms, and then I wouldn't have forgot them. That is some salt and pepper. That's about a half a teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of pepper. Feel free to add whatever you like to your hamburger mixture. I pulled off a piece of rosemary branch and I'm taking the needles off it. Fresh rosemary, guys, isn't pokey like dried rosemary, so I just diced it up and I threw it in with the hamburger. Such a savory flavor that we really enjoy around here. You might decide that you want to thicken your hamburger mixture with some mushroom soup. Feel free to do that, or some other soup that you really enjoy. Now this is a squash that we steamed, and I removed the flesh from the skin. I let it cool down a bit, and I'm adding my egg. Be sure to mix your egg in completely. And to the squash, I'm adding the mozzarella cheese and the parmesan. If you would, mix that in thoroughly. I am just adding a flour roux to my hamburger mixture. I'm just basically making gravy, guys. I added also a little beef oxo just to up that beef flavoring. Once the hamburger mixture was nice and gravy-ish, I added it to my pre-cooked pie shell. I took the 1 pound of hamburger that I cooked was just enough to fill the bottom of the pie. I put my squash mixture on top of the hamburger. Now, this wasn't quite enough squash. I might have done more. I would suggest using maybe 1.5 cups of mashed squash. I did manage to get it spread out though, and I'm putting it into a preheated oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for about 35 to 40 minutes. Everything is cooked already. You just want it to be nice and browned. And it was quite delicious, and even better the next day. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.